Excellent deduction. I can tell I found the right man for the job. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
I could get used to people offering us a job at first glance. Usually they just squint at us all suspicious-like. Or reach for a pistol.
I don't believe you thought this through. Or much else, for that matter.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands.
That's me.
I like my employees well-groomed. Appearances are everything in high society.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for both. Remember, I'm rich enough that I can afford to be choosy. And I choose you, dear Captain. Allow me to lay out the facts, and you can decide for yourself if you want to be my chief investigator. My mother, Dr. Olivia Ambrose, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgon Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgon. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgon, and I just know they're lying. Everything you can imagine and more. Dereliction of duty, circulating anti-corporate memos, taking longer than average coffee breaks. The list goes on. Mother would not have allowed Project Gorgon to fail. Something happened on that asteroid, and my family took the fall for it. I admired Mother, but we weren't close. She disapproved of everything about me, really. I couldn't measure up to her example. She didn't make time for us. I remember thinking that she never wanted a child, and never forgave me for being one, naive and irresponsible as I was. I don't know what would have made Mother happy. After a while, I stopped trying to find out. We got close once. When I was a child, I enjoyed looking over Mother's shoulder, playing backseat chemist while she peered into a microscope. One day, she told me to leave before I broke something. Then, I got mad and broke something. Typical night in the Ambrose house. Mother and Gorgon were made for each other. I had the misfortune to be stuck in the middle. I don't know. And Spacer's Choice won't say. They don't discuss anything that tarnishes their brand. Gorgon has a dark history. The project fell apart. Personnel were shuffled across the system. With Mother gone, now I'm all that's left. Father lost more than his job on Gorgon. I'll say no more than that. The asteroid may look like a glittering jewel, but I assure you the resemblance ends there. Gorgon is poisonous to the core. One might even say cursed. I need your help, Captain. Project Gorgon killed Mother and disgraced the Ambrose name, and no one has been held accountable. Spacer's Choice buried the past like a dirty secret. Neither. It's vindication I want. Whatever happened on Gorgon wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth kicking and screaming into the light. even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's Choice. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgon, in the heart of the old research facility. I'm not surprised. Between the family drama and the corporate conspiracy, it must feel like you've stepped on a landmine. Speak freely, Captain. I suspect it will prove that corporate greed and incompetence were to blame for the calamity at Gorgon, and not Mother. Mother was a brilliant woman. Difficult, cold, unreachable even, but brilliant. Spacer's Choice evacuated in a hurry, leaving a fortune's worth of equipment in their wake. Mother's journal would have escaped their notice. This is my last hope of redeeming the Ambrose name. I don't like my chances, but I have to try. And I need help. Your help.
I don't trust that.
I didn't want to go anywhere near Gorgon. Once I exhausted all my options, the search led me back here. I even had Mother declared legally dead. Would you believe it took 5 years to process the paperwork? Mother's body is still on Gorgon. No body means no death certificate, which means no inheritance. I killed Mother, just on paper, of course, so I could claim my inheritance. We wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have access to the family fortune. I once assumed the mansion and the money would be enough to redeem the Ambrose name. But even in Byzantium, prestige must be earned, and it can so easily be lost. Break back into high society, yes. That's the Ambrose spirit, I suppose. Aim high, curse the heavens when you fall short, and live to fight again. The smear campaign against Mother was the work of cowards. I'm vindicating the family name for her, for the colony, and for my future. Everything that Mother lost. This colony is in trouble. The lunatics at Spacer's Choice are running the asylum, and we need better people to wield their influence. After Gorgon, I quickly discovered that the Ambrose name was cursed, for lack of a better term. I had no place among the decision makers. No seat at the table. That is why I'm clearing the record and vindicating the Ambrose line. For Mother, for me, and for the generations who will one day inherit Halcyon. I know it will. You know as much as I do, I'm afraid. Spacer's Choice abandoned Gorgon, but the asteroid is far from unoccupied. Between the marauders, the wildlife, and whatever escaped the labs, danger abounds.
Of course it does.
Toward the end of the project, I heard Mother grumble about some test subjects running amok outside of their enclosure. I wish I could tell you more. Just watch yourself. If you aren't careful, you stand to lose more than an arm. I believe that covers it all. Are you ready to get started? We mustn't allow the trail to get cold.
Perhaps then you can put your mother's ghost to rest.
You do all that for me? I was hoping you'd take the job, but I didn't expect you to care.
I expect to be paid. I get number 3.
I admire your enthusiasm.
Huh.
This manor has echoed with my own we, and I can feel you breathing new life into the walls. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. I told him everything I've told you. Just the facts. Maybe a couple of harmless embellishments. Why? It's sure to be 100% with that attitude. Still, you're smart to ask. Lucky spent most of our time together spinning a pistol around his index finger. Not sure he'll listen to any of my advice. But you won't let me down, will you, Captain? That's the spirit. There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
The Sprat Shack? Hope they don't serve real sprats. There's a sprat-worst place in the Groundbreaker. Tried it once, and I was sick for a week.
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? The cash? No one's ever done this before, and the only person who tried is a corpse. Believe me, that's enough. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels.
If only you could buy property in this game. Something I would have liked. Something I would like, actually. That would have been really cool to have in this game.
Spacer's Choice should be the one apologizing, but thank you. Sincerely. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
Don't worry about us. We're well versed in helping ourselves to anything that's not nailed down.
Hey boss, what's our policy on getting to know our clients a little better? You think she'd appreciate some company?
Everything you feel is wrong.
Alright. I can do this. Here goes. Miss Ambrose? Must get awful lonesome up here all by yourself. What do you do for fun? Because, if you're interested, I've got the full set of Terror on Monarch.
The last thing I need in my life is more corporate propaganda masquerading as entertainment. I think that came off a bit harsher than I intended. You seem very nice, and very pretty, but I'm not ready to invite anyone into this mansion long-term, or even short-term.
Hey, no problem. I figured it was worth a shot at least.
Yeah. Thank you. No more for you. By the way, I don't mean to rob everything that you have here, but I'm going to. Now buy your own mansion, you say? I feel like I'm going to be back here a lot more often than I thought. Than I thought I would be. This is kind of creepy. Dearest mother and father, I have paced the halls of this gilded cage long enough. Since you won't permit me to help the family business, I'm leaving to start a business of my own. I'm too young for such ambitions. Am I too young for such ambitions? Perhaps. But that is a risk you take when you fashion a daughter in your image. Byzantium will welcome me with open arms. Won't that be a new sensation? If I ever return, it'll be to claim my rightful spot at the head of this family. Minnie. I'm surprised it's just water. I was hoping for something else. I was hoping her room to have booze. Alright, so I can't get in there. I would like to get the master key to that. Come on. A really nice bathroom. I mean, aside from the water damage and all that. Well, no, I don't know. We'll assume it's water damage. That's what I'm going to call it. Aside from the nastiness. Aside from being a nasty boy. Ah. Ow. Oh, hello. How'd you beat me down here? Yeah, I have the kitchen key card. Well, I think I've stolen enough of her stuff. That janitor robot's not doing a good job. You need like 5 or 6 more of those. Alright, well. Back to the ship, I guess. What's a stack? Somebody's been very bored here.
Bringing canned responses. How clumsy of this unit. These things have an oh calamity.
Oh, calamity. Someone had a lot of fun when they wrote this game. I appreciate that. But I'm already trying to think of what's the twist on this one, and I'm still. I would say I've got like I've slight scarring left over from like the guy that hired us is actually the bad guy. Like they wouldn't do that twice, right? Like they wouldn't tell that story again. Like this lady probably she might be the bad guy, right? Like, she may. I can't take that away from her. Like, I can't say that that's not the possible situation here. Right? Like, there's no reason for me to say there's no way that's incorrect.
Without a narrator. How about this?
Oh, hello.
Our intrepid heroes stepped foot on Gorgon, and in the distance, a drinking establishment beckoned.
This doesn't make any sense to me, though. Like, the way that she's described this place is that this place has no reason to exist anymore. It's...
Please evacuate in an orderly fashion. Spacer's choice is not responsible for death.
Still telling people to leave. Oh, disable that. Thank you.
You, boss.
Alright. Problem solved. Everything's just so ominous here. It feels weird. Okay.
Supplies if you need them. No one lasts long on Gorgon unprepared.
So are these guys just here for salvage people? Like people land here and then general shop exists and supplies for whoever comes in decides they're going that way to salvage things? Like is that the point?
Is that what my thoughts sound like? Look, I've been standing near that alarm too long. You looking for supplies, stranger? Let's stock up here. If you run low on bullets out in Gorgon's far reaches, there ain't no one around here liable to help you out. Let me know if you're looking for something particular. You mean you came out to this asteroid without knowing nothing about it? Me too. Heard it was wild here and couldn't resist. Trouble is, if you wander off to somewhere you oughtn't be, like way out in Gorgon's farthest reaches, odds are slimmer of your bits finding their way to my pockets. If you want my advice, stick close to the Sprat Shack, unless you fancy having your limbs torn off and eaten.